Hello, everyone. How are you doing this amazing Monday evening? So it is August. We are in a new month, and this month is all about survivors. So this month may be a difficult month for some of you guys to listen to the broadcasts each day. Again, we're every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time live. And so this month, we are going to be talking with some amazing women that have been through so much in their lives. We are going to be speaking to people that have survived rape, people that have survived physical abuse, people that have survived the loss of loved ones, people that have survived illness, diagnoses, so much trauma, but yet they have chosen to overcome their trauma and rise above it and help others through their pain and their trauma. And this month, I wanted to kick the month off with my story because you guys have heard it before, but I specifically want to focus on my daughter, Trinity. Her birthday would be next Tuesday. She would be 13 years old next Tuesday. She would be my first teenager. Um, and she is an amazing gift to this world. Even though she is no longer here physically in body, her spirit still rings out in this world. Something I want to acknowledge is that the death of a child is something that nobody ever wants to talk about. Not a comfortable situation. And I acknowledge that. And I honor you for listening to my story because you guys, it's not comfortable to hear bearing a child. It's not comfortable to hear I've lost a daughter. When people say, how many children do you have? I found myself in the beginning saying, I have three because I didn't want to cause them to be uncomfortable having to acknowledge that I actually have four, but one is no longer here on earth. But what I realized when I did that was I was dishonoring the memory of my daughter. I was dismissing her being my daughter. I was dismissing our experience together as mother daughter. And so I refuse to not acknowledge her any longer. And so today's episode is all about Trinity. It's all about honoring her life here on this earth. It's all about honoring the journey me and her had together. And it's all about discussing the loss of a child. So if you are on this episode, if you're watching it live and you have lost a child, feel free to comment below, comment with us, say, I was there too. I've lost a child. I've been through it. If you've lost a close family member that was a child and you want to be honored and acknowledged today of living through that loss of a child, go ahead and comment. We are here to support you. So, to get into the story of the life of Trinity Michelle, she was such an amazing spirit, you guys. She was so strong. Her spirit was so strong that she changed lives before she ever took a breath in this world. She um, she changed my life, and that was her whole purpose. Her whole purpose was to change my life and shift my path and connect me with the people I needed to be connected to live the life that I live today. Trinity's father and me, we never really had a relationship. I was dating him socially. We would go out on dates in public. We would never be together privately behind closed doors because at that time in my life, I had recommitted myself to Christ and I was trying to live a pure life. I had already lost my virginity, but I was trying to live the correct way that the Bible told me to live, that God has asked me to live. And so I was choosing to be celibate, but I knew that I struggled with craving that sexual part of me. So I chose to date Trinity's father out in public so I didn't fall into the sin of fornicating before marriage, of having sex before marriage. And so we only dated out in public. However, because of my illness, I was bedridden for a couple of weeks after a procedure that I had done. And so he decided to come over and visit me at my home one day, and we became intimate that day. And our first time being intimate, we got pregnant with Trinity. Now, I didn't know this man because we had only ever been hanging out socially. And so I didn't really take time to get to know him in an intimate level because I wasn't there psychologically. So when we got pregnant with Trinity, we decided to try to have a relationship and try to make it work. And so we started dating on a more regular basis. He started coming over every single day. I was already pregnant. We were going to try to make it work so Trinity could have a household with two parents together, hopefully falling in love with each other. But as I got to know Trinity's father more intimately, I learned that he was addicted to drugs and he was an alcoholic. And when he drank, he was not a very friendly man. He was not nice at all. And so, after about 3 weeks of us finding out that we were pregnant with Trinity, he decided he wanted me to get an abortion. Now, that was something that was never even an option in my mind. I was raised by parents that believed that you do not have sex until marriage. And if you do have sex before marriage and you get pregnant, then you need to take care of that child. And that was set in my mind from a very young age. And that's a moral that I believe and I stand by today. If you are going to perform the act, you need to be responsible for the consequences. Now, Trinity was not a bad consequence. In fact, I believe she was a miracle because I was told that I could never have children. And so the fact that I was able to get pregnant with Trinity was a complete and total blessing. But he wanted me to abort her, and I refused. And so when I refused to abort her, he chose to try to beat her out of me. And I went through many nights of physical abuse at the hands of Trinity's father because he did not want me to be able to carry this child to term. About 3 months along in my pregnancy, I finally decided that if I did not escape this man's abuse, I would lose my daughter to his hand. And so I fought my way out of that relationship to give Trinity the choice to live, the chance to live. Now, one thing I want to make very clear at that time, although I'm a very strong woman, at that time, he had mentally broken me down to where I did not feel as though my life was worth living. He broke me down mentally to feel as though I deserved the nightly beatings, that I was crazy, and that nobody outside of that relationship loved me. I truly believed that at that time of my life. And so when I escaped that abusive relationship to give my daughter the chance to have a life, I escaped that relationship for Trinity and Trinity alone. I did not escape that relationship for myself because I did not feel worthy and I did not feel lovable. But I knew that this little baby growing inside of me needed to live and should not lose her life at the hands of her father because of a choice that I had made to be with him. So I escaped that relationship with her father. And because of my illness, I struggled the entire pregnancy. I was extremely ill. And in fact, I lost 40 pounds during the pregnancy rather than gaining weight. I was losing weight. At 27 weeks along in gestation, I went into renal failure and my body gave out on me. My liver and my kidney shut down. My brain was starting to seize, and I had to deliver her immediately in order for both of us to have a chance to survive. And my pregnancy, my delivery was, I think it was about 14 hours with her. I can't remember, could have been longer, but her heartbeat was strong. The entire delivery, her heartbeat was strong. We could hear it on the monitors, we could see it on the screen. And a couple of minutes before she was born, her heart stopped beating. The doctors asked me if I wanted them to resuscitate her when she came out. But I gave my daughter's life over to God. I trusted that if she was supposed to live, that God would allow her to come out alive, that God would allow her to come out breathing, that God would resuscitate her himself. And because she had such an abusive father, I wanted to leave that choice up to God and God alone of whether or not Trinity survived. So when Trinity came out, she was not breathing. In order for her to be hooked up to the machines, she had to be 16 ounces. She came out at 13.8 ounces. So she was literally 1.5 ounces too small to be hooked up to the machines to save her life. So even if I had chosen for the doctors to resuscitate her, it wasn't even a possibility. God had made his choice, and God chose to take Trinity home to raise her in heaven. So I didn't get that miracle baby in my arms. But you guys, she was so amazing. Her spirit lit up that hospital. During our fight for our lives, while we were in that hospital, that child had nurses coming down the hall that weren't even assigned to us and praying over the both of us. Even after Trinity left this world, nurses were still coming in and praying with me. 3 nurses chose to accept Christ into their hearts that night because of the fight that Trinity had. Trinity showed those nurses the truth of God, the truth of the Spirit, and showed them so strongly that those nurses chose to accept Christ into their hearts. And that girl didn't even breathe a breath on this earth. She was powerful and mighty, you guys, and she changed my life forever. She was the miracle that I needed at that time, and she's still my miracle today. Trinity, sorry. Trinity is with me every single day. Although she's not here physically, her ashes sit next to my sink every single day with her picture so that I can see her every day when I wake up, so that she can remind me why I'm here on this earth, so that she can teach me every day to be grateful for today, so that she can remind me what a gift the present moment is. Not only that, but she has given me a family. Before I got pregnant with Trinity, I was working as a loan agent. I was working 18-hour days and I had no life whatsoever. I was working in San Francisco. When I got pregnant with Trinity, I had to quit that job because her father worked at that business with me. I had to quit that job and I moved in with my sister across 2 bridges to get away from Trinity's father. And it was in that city that I moved in with my sister that I met my husband that I have now. A man that has taught me what love looks like. A man that thinks that I walk on water. A man that not only has taught me what love looks like, but has taught our 3 children what love looks like. Trinity is in this house every day. Her pictures are on our walls, and my 3 children that she never met once talk about her still to this day. Kaylani, my oldest daughter, was born on Trinity's birthday 2 years after Trinity died. Her due date was 2 years after Trinity died on Trinity's birthday. She came 1 week early. So Kaylani's birthday is August 4th, and Trinity's birthday is August 11th. And even though Kaylani never met her older sister, she still asks for a birthday cake every year to celebrate Trinity's life. You guys, if that doesn't speak volumes of the power that Trinity's spirit still holds in this house today, I don't know what does. So I ask, if you have lost a child, please acknowledge your child. Don't dismiss their life, even if they were not born in this world, even if it was a miscarry, or even if it was a stillborn, or if they spent years on this earth and blessed us with their presence. Do not dismiss the power of that life, because that life was here, even if it was for a split second. It is not comfortable to talk about the loss of a child. It is not comfortable to talk to a parent about burying their baby. But we need to talk about it, you guys. We need to change the perspective of child loss because us as parents want to talk about our babies. Us as parents want to talk about the strength that those children gave us. Us as parents want to talk about our grief and our pain. Because, yes, it is painful. But you guys, don't dismiss our babies. Don't ignore their lives because they had a purpose and a reason to be here on this earth. And that purpose may just be to teach you a lesson simply by speaking to that parent that lost that child and learning a nugget of wisdom from them, learning from their pain, learning how to process from their grief. They could have lost that child for you to be able to teach you that lesson. And if we continue to shy away from talking about the loss of a child, if we continue to ignore those that have lost their children, we are disrespecting them and dishonoring them by not giving them the ability to share their beauty of that soul that was on this earth. So, this month, we're going to be getting uncomfortable. We're going to be talking about things that don't feel good. We're going to be discussing things that feel very uncomfortable. But you guys, it's time to talk about those topics. It's time to talk about those issues. It's time to talk about that person that was raped and left for dead. It's time to talk about that woman that escaped that abusive relationship with just the string of her life holding on. It's time to talk about that mother that lost her child, or that wife that lost her husband, or that wife that lost that child that lost her parents. It's time to talk about grief. It's time to talk about the pain. It's time to bring it to the forefront, you guys. This month, this is what we're talking about. So if you want to hear some powerful stories, if you want to get some golden nuggets, if you want to learn from those that have been in the trenches of despair and crawled their way out, this is Survivorship Month on the Belief Breakthrough Show, and we are bringing those stories to you. We are bringing those survivors to you, and we are honoring our stories. We are no longer sitting back and hiding in the shadows due to shame and embarrassment. We are bringing it here, and we are talking to you, and we are honoring our experience because it is time to be honored. It is time to no longer hide in embarrassment, no longer hide in shame, no longer hide in judgment. It is time for us to speak our truth, to stand in our power, and to embrace the message and the lessons that this life has brought for us so that we can share it with you and help you in your journey. So, you guys, I hope that you will join me every Monday and Wednesday evening this month at 6 p.m. Pacific time so that you can hear from these amazing women, from these amazing survivors, from these powerhouses that are being vulnerable with us and releasing their voice for us to hear, to honor their tragedy, and to overcome in triumph. So, you guys, that is it for today. I hope you learned something from my story. I hope you were able to find a little bit of inspiration. You guys, this is a powerful month. This is my month that I honor my daughter, Trinity. This is my month that I honor survivors. And I'm bringing you guys powerful stories from women that do not need to share their stories, women that do not need to be vulnerable, but women that are powerful and stepping up and saying, I want to speak about what I've been through because I know there is someone out there that needs to hear it. I know that there is someone out there that is hiding in the shadows, and there is someone out there that needs to be brought to the light, and they need my voice to borrow my power, to borrow my survivorship so that they can too become a survivor. So, you guys, we have a powerful lineup this month, and I hope you guys will tune in, and I hope you will be inspired, and I hope that you will subscribe to the channel and share it with all of your friends so that we can give all of these amazing women a voice this month, so that we can honor them, so that we can celebrate them, and so that we can be grateful for them to share their vulnerability and what they've been through so that we can all learn from them. Thank you for tuning in, you guys, and I will see you on Wednesday.